Hey, it's Adam here, and you're watching The Culture Hack, where we're talking about how to create engaged workspaces that unlock the potential of your teams and drive your business forward in ways you've never seen. So stay tuned.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to a rock and roll edition of The Culture Hack. I've been waiting for this one for a long time. I've got my buddy Kenton Dobrowolski on with me. He is a music producer and co-founder of Peach Jam Records. So welcome, Kenton. Thanks for coming on the show.
Adam, such a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, man. I'm been excited about coming on as well.
And I've actually been down to the music studio with Ken. We've recorded crazy stuff, and it's a good time. And we were talking about culture and engagement and branding and the digital experience. And I was like, oh my God, Ken, you got to come on my show, man. Like, your point of view is so cool.
Appreciate that.
But first off, tell us about your music producing that you do and Peach Jam Records as well.
Yeah, so I've been a music producer for I've been about 15 now, so going on over a decade. Something I've been passionate about for a long time. Grew up with, a father as a musician, as a drummer. I've been drumming since, probably heard a drum beat before I heard my own heartbeat. So that's been in the blood for a while. And then just as a natural progression of loving music so much and the nerding out over great albums and how they impacted me and the emotions I felt listening to them, like that just really excited me. I knew there was like some magic that happened in the creation process of music. And that led me down the rabbit hole of, teaching myself different softwares, different instruments, having the ability to, take that ideation, crazy thought in your head to a tangible, listenable product, which music production was the right fit for that.
Cool. I love it. It's so neat, right? Like nothing seems to inspire emotion quicker than sound, right?
Exactly. Totally.
And, that this is really interesting. We're going to kind of get into it a little bit, but we talk about engagement of teams and all these, communication and the brand, which is often very visual based, but we never talk about sound, like what a powerful tool. So I'm curious, your take on engagement when you're thinking of a group of people or a team, what does it mean to you?
Well, totally. And to me, really, like engagement is people more than just being there. I think there's like passive listening and active listening. There's the smile and nod. So they think I'm listening, and the actual, oh, I need to stop smiling and nodding so much because I'm looking creepy, but I'm so into this. I'm just like really feeling. There's like, that's such a fine line. And, engagement really takes, all of you. You're not if you're really engaged in something, you're not thinking about the text you might be missing. You're not thinking about other things you got to do later that day. You're really in the moment, immersed. And I think that takes like all the senses to some degree, not discriminating anyone who can't see or hear, but, engaging as much as the senses as possible, I think really engages people. And audio, music specifically, it's one of those things that, it often sometimes gets overlooked and not talked about as much as, the visual representation of the brand or the brand messaging and stuff is. But what's crazy is I think people will be, really shocked and freaked out if you just turned all the sound and music off that was happening, and been happening for such a long time in everything to do with brands and commercials and radio. And with this digital landscape, it really opens the door for trying new things out with audio to connect at an even deeper level. We tapped into the potential of that yet.
Right. Well, the best example I like to use is, if I say to somebody, bong, bong, they can tell me exactly which streaming service that is, and they immediately feel like popcorn and potentially a beer, right? Like,
exactly.
It's just like immediately you are in the mindset and you're focused, like that's where you are, right? I can picture my home theater the second you make that sound, right?
Totally. It's like some mind control stuff that happens, right? It's really powerful. You can be having like a great day and the right song comes on, there's some string arrangement, right? Or someone's singing, and next thing you know, you're crying and you don't know why. And it's like, that's the power that the music has.
Oh yeah, right? Songs that were big hits when I was in high school or my first job working outside, they'd play on the radio or whatever, like I'm right there, right? But that, we're looking at a world that's heading more towards the digital space and not less, right? We're starting to look at websites as what if they could be experiences, not just a static piece of information, but what about, adding video or sound or movement, same with all your social content. The metaverse is coming, we all know that, and like AI is here, but, if we're really looking this idea of culture and the digital culture and representing yourself online authentically, what role do you think music can play in that?
Well, it's so true, right? And it's funny because you see all these companies, brands, everyone always jumping at the next thing. They need to have all the social media platforms. They need to have the next big marketing tactic, whether it's, a really flashy video or a really simplistic video or really cool music or no music. But I think what's even more important and what the consumer really, really craves, and it's still evident in music as well, is what's the intention? Like they want authenticity. And I think that's what the music at a deeper level has the ability to do, is there's this cool wow factor of having really exciting things that catch attention and stuff. But once you have their attention, you're only going to make an impact if you can hold it and deliver some sort of message or something that's authentic and genuine. And the digital landscape, it's to me a blessing and a curse in the sense that it's now so accessible. There's so much noise. So people are having to sift through, and they're being sold to on so many different levels. They're almost a bit sinister now, the consumer cynical, who's just trying to sell to me, or this is just a tactic. So I think when you can really combine cohesiveness between the brand message, what you look like, and the sound, whether that's music, song, or, you're a car company, the start of the car in the morning or something like that, to really tie it together in an authentic way, I think that's where the magic is.
Very, very cool. I mean, how amazing, if you're building great content on a social platform and then every time it pops up, it has your logo with a specific sound that's yours and was created, it's an interesting question, right? If I ask a business owner or a leader, if it was your company, are you going to be like techno? Would you be jazz? Would you be more like rock? Would it be like Lego rock? Would it be something soft, kind of chilling, like, for first thing in the morning? Like, what would your sound be? And that's not a question you can answer easily, I don't think. You really got to dig into the emotion of why you started the business, what you're trying to achieve, what greater purpose you have. Like, all those arm-wavy big things have to be funneled down to produce a sound that means something to you and to other people, right?
100%. I think that's exactly it, right? Is that final product is so amazing, but it's the process. It's how you get to that final product. It's diving into those questions. Like you said, why did I start this? Who am I serving? Not only what sounds do I want to hear as a business owner, but what is my ideal client, or who I'm actually really connecting with? What are they going to think of when they think of me, to get that moment where they hear a little, motif or two bongo hits or something, right? And they think of your brand instantly and want what you have. That takes, for the 2 seconds of audio, there's this massive process, and it's messy. Being creative, there's the experimentation phase. And when you experiment, sometimes disaster happens, and sometimes there's, happy accidents. And I can speak from experience as a happy accident myself that, when those happen, it's amazing.
Right. I love it. I love the idea, like, we brought our whole team together down to your studio and we jammed for a day, and it was wicked. But now if I play that sound that came out of it, that's recognizable, it brings my team together in an instant. They instantly feel that sense of fun and enjoyment of getting messy and being real and all that kind of stuff. So, there's externally, of course, the branding or the marketing point of view, but also we're talking about connection. Imagine the power of adding sound to your internal team and having it mean something like that. That to me, it just blows my mind when I think about it.
No, for real. Yeah. And that's exactly it, right? Like that thing you hear, it can trigger back a moment in time, right? It can really immerse yourself back in a nostalgic moment, or a moment where, like, the team was together. And I think that, best way to really grow with someone is to create with them, is to collaborate with them, is to get on a deeper emotional level of why they like to do the things they do.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And as we move into the future of what, engagement in, the business world, and then engagement online, this idea of what your digital culture is, I think, the senses other than visual, sound, is going to become more and more critical. Do you have any predictions for the future, and what you're seeing in terms of music and sound and how businesses are engaging with you?
Yeah, I got a few. One of them is kind of that I'm seeing in the music industry, especially though, is a bit of a revert back to a little bit of a less overwhelming, more analog time. The resurgence of vinyl and people listening to music that way. There's actually a bit of a resurgence now of CDs making a comeback in. If you actually compare and listen to a CD in your car and then you listen to a streaming service, you're going to notice the CD sounds a heck of a lot better. It's going to sound more full. Like people have almost, so I feel like almost people's acceptance of quality is shifted, and it's more about the quantity now. There's just so much stuff happening. There's not enough time to put as much care and careful thought into each maybe sound you use because things are moving so fast. But I think when you're able to take a step back from that and take some of the philosophies that have worked in the past and apply that into the future ways, and again be like impactful but intentional with what you're doing, that it's a great recipe to do it like that.
Fantastic. Well, it just seems like an exciting world to me, and who doesn't want to kind of jam and listen to music? Imagine if that could benefit your company and you do it at the same time. So it seems like a pretty awesome win to me. So, absolutely. But I want to thank you for your time, Kenton. It was very interesting, very enlightening, and I can't wait to get together and have a beer and a patio somewhere. So thank you very much.
Absolutely, Adam. My pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, thanks for watching The Culture Hack. Do you want to chat culture and engagement? Give us a call and come on the show.